TE retracts, we will see the clamp arms will begin to open around the second stage, and then the TE
starting strong back retract.
Will pull away from the rocket slightly. You heard that call out. The strong back retraction has just begun. Finally, at T0, the ground hydraulic systems will pull the TE even further away from the Falcon 9 as it lifts off. You should be able to see right there on the bottom of the screen below the fairing, the clamp arms are beginning to open in preparation for the retraction of that strong back on the right-hand side of the rocket. Now, the first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the TE, but the structure is hinged and it will retract away from the vehicle in preparation for launch. You may hear this transporter erector referred to as the strong back by the launch teams. You can see that slow tilt of that strong back on the right-hand side of the fairing as it begins to recline in preparation for launch. Now, at this point in the countdown, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Just had that call out that the first stage has finished up its liquid oxygen loading. The second stage should wrap up in about a minute at T-minus 2 minutes. You might be able to see those white clouds gathering around the vehicle, and that is chilled gas from just above the LOX tank liquid surface that we vent overboard to maintain the pressures that we want in the LOX tank. And when that gas comes into contact with the humid Florida air, you can see it condensing into those clouds coming from the booster. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the countdown. And just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we light the Merlin 1D engines for liftoff. Should be wrapping up second stage liquid oxygen loading here very shortly.
2 minutes. Get the camera over there.
The OneWeb 1 payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket.
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
There's that call out for second stage LOX loading complete. Weather is still looking good, and the range is go for launch. With that, we are proceeding into the last few minutes of the terminal countdown. You can see that white cloud coming from the TE LOX line. This is normal and expected. In just about 30 seconds.
Launch gas closeout.
In just under 30 seconds here, Falcon 9 will be in startup. This is when the first and second stages will begin pressurizing for launch. Shortly after that, we will wait for that final launch director go prior to liftoff.
Not jumping. 26. All right, let me turn it around.
Falcon 9 is in startup. The Falcon flight computers have taken over the countdown.
LD, go for launch.
The launch director has given that final go for launch. All systems are go for Falcon 9 and the OneWeb 1 payload for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds to count.
Hopefully I'm in the right spot.
T-minus 15 seconds and counting.
If I remember correctly, it was right about that.
Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
You don't see me
3,
and wave out the
2,
window.
1, ignition, liftoff.
Pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
9 has successfully lifted off from pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center, carrying our OneWeb 1 payload. Now, during ascent, we will tilt the engines, technically called gimbaling, and that'll turn the rocket horizontally slightly in what we call a gravity turn.
Nominal power and telemetry.
So we're still going up, but we're also going horizontally away from the launch pad. You can see a beautiful sunset view of that ascent of Falcon 9.
Vehicle supersonic.
Now, in just a couple minutes, we will be throttling the engines down in preparation for max Q, or the maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
Oh, that's the camera.
We just passed through that moment. Now, the first stage, or any rocket, typically needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and actually make it into orbit. So you can keep an eye on that stage 1 telemetry on that bottom left-hand side of your screen. Looks like we're going about 2,500 miles per hour right now and increasing rapidly. In a little under a minute here, we will have 5 events coming up in quick succession. So it'll start with main engine cutoff of the first stage, followed by stage separation, a stage 1 flip as it prepares to do the boost back burn, second engine startup 1, where the second stage MVAC engine will ignite, and then the start of that first stage boost back burn. Beautiful views from that camera tracking the Falcon 9.
Pretty much.
Now we're coming up for main engine cutoff in just a few seconds. And watch out for those 5 events.
You go.
Stage separation confirmed.
All right. It's looking at a cloud. All right, I can't see it. Oh.
Wow, what an incredible view. There you heard and you see in these incredible views from Falcon 9 first and second stages, that main engine cutoff, stage separation, the first stage flip, second engine startup, and that boost back burn where the plumes from that first and second stage were creating that beautiful light show in the sky. Now that first stage boost back burn is in progress, but it'll end here in just under 10 seconds.
Okay, it's very difficult to see. I'm going to keep an eye on that, but let's get a look at the cloud. Cloud is kind of cool.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
That was the end of the stage 1 boost back burn. And here coming up shortly, we should have fairing deployment from our second stage.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There's fairing separation. You can see those at that attitude control system. The attitude control system on that first stage, creating those beautiful plumes in the sky on those views from your left.
Can you hear it?
Now, we did have confirmation of a good fairing separation for both of our fairing halves, and this is the 5th and 6th flight of those fairing halves today. We will be attempting to retrieve them once more when they fall back down to Earth using our recovery ship, Doug. Now here at T plus 4 minutes and 20 seconds into today's mission, we are in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns ahead of satellite deployment. At T plus 6 minutes and 4 seconds, you should see the first stage's entry burn. And we're currently watching some beautiful light show performances from the first stage as it is making its way back down to Earth, with those plumes coming from our attitude control system, which is nitrogen cold gas thrusters near the top of the first stage. Now for the entry burn coming up in about a minute, we will relight 3 of our 9 M1D engines. So it'll start with the center engine, followed shortly by the E1 and E5 engines. First stage really putting on a beautiful, incredible show there. Now we do that entry burn of the first stage to slow the vehicle down and help reduce re-entry forces to help us recover and reuse that first stage.
Tons
second stage continue to look healthy. We are about 30 seconds away from the start of our entry burn on the first stage. And this will be about a 20-second burn of 3 of our M1D engines to slow that
Stage 2 following on the trajectory.
to slow that first stage down as it re-enters the thicker parts of the Earth's atmosphere. Hopefully we'll get some really beautiful views from the first stage there on the left.
All right, put the tripod down. Hold on.
Stage 1 entry burn
Steady,
startup.
steady.
There is the start of our first stage entry burn, as you can see. And you can see that first stage flying through that entry burn plume, which deposits
Sorry
that
about that,
soot
viewer.
on the first
Stage
stage.
1 entry burn shut down.
Did to get that call out for a good entry
Stage 1
burn.
FTS is saved.
Level it out.
Stage 2 continues to be on a nominal trajectory. We are getting some spotty camera connectivity, but everything is looking good from stage 2 telemetry. You can see the first stage is coming down back towards landing zone 1, and we will start our landing burn of that first stage in just about 10 seconds here. You can see the Cape Canaveral coast on your screen
Stage
on
2
the right.
FTS is saved.
There is
Oh,
that
what do we got
start
here?
of our first stage landing burn.
Stage 1
That's the booster coming down.
Really incredible views from the first stage.
Landing on the boat.
Stage 1 landing.
There it is. You don't see it clear on the screen.
As you can see from that beautiful video
Stage 2 is a total guidance.
from the first stage, we did have a successful landing of the first stage booster back on landing zone 1. And this landing marks the 145th recovery of a Falcon 9 first stage. Now in just a few seconds here, we
I
will
took the scooter this time.
the second stage.
Parking's usually difficult when there's a launch.
Some spotty
And not when you got the scooter in my pillow, so I don't hurt my bum bum. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit!
That was the, I bet you heard that. That was probably the sonic boom from the booster rocket coming down. Jesus. Scared the shite out of me. All right, let's get out of here. I'm scared now.
No, we've never heard that.
I got the legs down on this. I keep banging them. So let me try to adjust here. What? Some suspicious activities. All kinds of rules being broken over there. This is unacceptable. Signs, signs, everywhere, signs. Hey. The Harley Davidson. All right. Whoops, whoops.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Great job.